Just wanted to make sure.
All right.
All right, here we go. Hello and welcome to the Amber Spycast, your one-stop shop for all things His Dark Materials. Your dark materialists happen to be all three of us together.
Yes.
Amazingly. I'm Alaric, and who else is joining me? I'm going to my lady friend first, Joanna.
Yes, it is so good to have you back.
Woo! And so good to have you back, because I wasn't here last week.
Travis, way to be steady.
Constant as a northern star.
Way
the
to
glue.
be constant.
The glue.
Yes, you are the lowest common denominator.
Wow. Travis literally just held up some like Gorilla Glue or something. Wow.
Monetize this joint.
Yeah, so if Gorilla Glue representatives, if you're listening, we are not above shilling for your product.
I am stuck on Gorilla Glue.
Ooh, Gorilla Glue might have held that door closed that Lyra casually leaned against and it fell open.
That's true.
Whatever latch they're using, I'm sure Gorilla Glue would have done a better job.
Absolutely.
Gorilla Glue. Hashtag. So we're talking about 1.7 tonight. What was the name of this episode?
The
fight to the death.
Fight to the death. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Let's dive in, shall we?
Let's do this.
All right.
Mrs. Coulter is having a nervous breakdown.
She really is.
She's real mad, not
really
just from
is.
last week screaming at a door and a lot of spittle. Like the amount of spit coming out of her mouth in last week and this week's episode is like Ben Vereen and Pippin. Like so much spit.
Like they really need to look. She needs to see a dentist because she's been chewing up so much scenery.
Oh, she's yum, 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 yum. It's so tasty.
Exactly.
So tasty.
Some HP sauce on that scenery because she's chewed it up.
She's really upset. This is interesting because we don't really see anything of her after the fall. I was going to the Svalbard. the fall of Bolvangar, and in the book, right?
No.
We sort of follow the departure leading up to what happens after that. She lives in the space a little bit here. We see her sort of reaction to her work that's been destroyed. All her project, the people that have been working for her are sort of shattered, and that pisses her off. She's really mad at that nurse.
Oh, she choked out Sister Clara.
She's trying to kill her.
Cool. Yeah, and then she backed off. I mean, and I wondered about that. Is she starting to realize the horrors of what she's doing? Like, is she starting to realize the real effects of what she's done?
It's possible. I mean, maybe if the episode ended right there with her reaction as to what she had done, the horror of what she'd done, I'd be like, oh, there's a conscience kind of bubbling up to the surface. But as the story progresses in this episode, it proves that she has learned nothing, and she's still horrible.
Yeah.
Great close up on the monkey later, but I'm going to talk about the monkey in a minute too. So we get a little snippet of this. And this is an interesting episode because it really follows a bunch of different plot lines that they are layering on top of each other. It's not sort of, they've been doing that in the other episodes, but this feels like, especially what's going on with Lyra and the bears and Will, what's going on in Will's world. It's literally like she's walking, he's walking. They're really sticking home those parallels between those two characters.
Yeah.
Even with jump cuts, like her to him.
We're really watching an A, B, and C stories here. We've got Lyra, we've got Mrs. Coulter, and then we've got Will. And actually, you could even drop the D if you want to look at it from Lord Boreal's perspective.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's linked to the Will story, but he has his own arc. He's, a matter of fact, I mean, I don't want to jump ahead, but I had a thought about him as we get forward. I crossed it out because it didn't happen, but the way it was playing out is because they are changing things here and there. I was thinking they were going to make a big change at one point.
Oh,
and
yes.
We'll get to it.
Okay.
Yes. We were talking before we hit record, and I want to spend a little bit of time on this. Let's talk about how much snow would need to be on the ground in order for you to fall from a balloon and land comfortably and safely, a la Frozen 1.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. Frozen 1.
Frozen 1. You need more snow, at least more visible snow.
Yeah.
She's flat on an icy ground.
Yes.
Yeah.
She only has a little bit of dust of snow on her knee, I think.
To be fair, she is Wolverine's daughter.
True.
So...
She stuck her claws in and like slid down the face. Man, I would watch that.
That would be a
crossover with Lyra where she has an adamantium exoskeleton.
She would mess those bears up.
I'm saying she's a little afraid, but she gets her steely goodness in this episode.
Yeah.
All right, so we don't have to spend too much time.
That fall was ridiculous, and last week we talked about the fall and how that was a really high fall. Like that was one of those like scream and then take a breath and keep screaming falls.
And the disappearing scream into the fog that you can still hear.
Mm-hmm.
It's far.
It was far.
100 feet minimum.
Yeah. I kept thinking like Maui when he jumped down that thing and he's like, still falling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like...
She's been falling for 30 minutes.
Right. Like, or Loki's like, I've been falling for 30 minutes.
It was significant. Even if it was, 30 feet, that's still,
a fall.
A real fall. Enough that you would need a softer thing to land on.
Yeah.
And I watched the behind the scenes shot of them doing the drop of her. And even in that shot where how they did it, the contraption that they had her, the green screen and everything, she was dropping far in that shot. So I don't want to beat a dead horse about this, but that really stood out to me. I'm not saying it pulled me out of the whole show, but a little bit of extra set dressing would have gone a long way in that.
Yeah. The only way I can like rectify it in my brain is that she fell on pillowy snow and then somehow like slid and then went down that sort of slidey looking thing behind her. And then
She'd
kind
have
of
more snow on her though, right? She'd be covered in snow.
She would.
Her hair had no snow in it.
No, she was not mussed at all, really.
But this is a larger problem with the show. With the sets the past few weeks, they've just been kind of underdone. Going back to Volvanger, my complaints last week about how everything was so small and contained, and this week, I beef up the snow budget. They could have done more.
Yeah, they seem to be shooting up north in a lot of this. There should be plenty of snow. I mean, the snow budget on Game of Thrones was probably more than the whole budget of the show, judging by how much snow they put on.
No budget.
Did you watch the making of Game of Thrones where they had the guy that was in charge of snow? No. Did you see this?
Yeah.
Oh my God! Please watch that episode. It's only about the making of the final battle or whatever. Mm-hmm. And there's a guy that his only job for the whole series was snow. He was the snow guy.
If his name wasn't John, I'm going to be so disappointed.
Yeah, that would be amazing. He was great, though. He was like everyone's hero. Please look it up. I'll link. We'll put a link up somewhere. For sure. All right. So moving on from the snow, I thought that she gets up and there's a wonderful bear reveal through the fog, which I thought really was nice.
Yeah.
The first time we see a bear, she even says there's a nice kind of line reading for her. She thinks it's Yurik, and it turns out not to be. I thought that was a really nice moment. And she's led to Svalbard. And surrounding Svalbard, this was a budget choice that I was happy with. Bloody snow. Bloody everything.
A lot of bloody everything.
It was covered in blood and gross.
Just gore, and it's streaming down the steps and pooling in areas. That was you could really smell it. Although I would have liked to have seen a little bit in the performance about her like kind of being disgusted by it. She really didn't show any disgust, but I was visually disgusted by it. I thought that was a really nice look, and it's somewhat what I pictured. Really disgusting. I pictured more bears being around.
Yeah.
So I think they said there were 200 bears in the whole place.
Yeah, 200.
We saw maybe 6 or 8 tops.
Yeah.
The other ones were doing other things.
Hanging out.
They're busy. Was Pan hiding enough? When they're thrown into the cell, Pan is like just falls into the cell. So do you think Pan fell out of her coat, or was he hiding at the point that she was taken into custody. Because that's such a key element.
Yeah, I think he was hiding. I don't think the bears the bear that brought her back had the chance to see Pan. And because, I mean, Lyra very quickly was like, Pan, you've got to hide, when the whole plan kind of came together in her head.
Yeah.
So, I think Pan was hidden enough.
And inside her cell, she gets to meet the mysterious scholar that was in the book.
Yeah, I was so happy about that.
Yes. Except somehow this episode he became Dr. Exposition.
Yes.
Yep.
And I'm holding up my piece of paper. This is exposition. This is for Travis. Exposition.
I know it's right in front of me. Say Captain Exposition, because that's what he was there for.
He delivered it in kind of a nutty way that was funny. He kind of was not totally with it. But I appreciated his presence, and that she did get a little bit of information that she needed that was not really delivered in any other way up to that point.
Yeah.
Even subtly, there wasn't like a lot of hints about what Yofor's needs and wants and desires were up to that point.
Mm-hmm.
So it had some value, but maybe a little ham-handed considering how close it was to her coming up with her idea. Although her realization of what her plan is going to be when she decides what she's going to do, that was really well done, and she played it very well.
She did.
She kind of like got that spark and realized what the plan was going to be. That was pretty solid.
Yeah, I liked how in the scene when she was sitting there in the cell, like the light just like it was lit like right above her. It looked like an idea went bing.
Bing. Yeah.
She's like, oh. But I like how I think that was part of what we were missing sometimes, Travis, that ability to quickly make this plan of like kind of deceit.
Yes.
And she did here. And it didn't feel out of character. Do you know what I mean? Like, it didn't feel like she was playing it this way and now all of a sudden she's trying to play it this way. Like, it felt like as situations get more dire, she's able to do that more and more. Like, do you know what I mean? So like when things were just a little bit, she really didn't need to pull out the big guns and show she didn't. But as things start to get more and more intense and urgent, she's able to use it when she needs it, which I actually think is that's a good plan.
Yeah. I mean, because if she lied as much in her day-to-day activities as she does in the book.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Like, who would ever believe? Like, yeah, I don't know how she has any credibility or anybody really.
Right. She lies a lot.
A lot.
Yeah.
Truly. Yeah. Yofor is... She gets a meeting with Yofor and is taken to him. Lots of big chunks of meat in the throne room. Big chunks of meat.
Oh, yeah.
More blood. So much blood. Lyra walks through a kind of a pool of blood.
A puddle of blood.
Yeah.
A lot of viscera and viscous fluids and pretty gross throne room. And Yofor is at the end. What did you think of Yofor's voice work?
Peter Serafinowicz, man. That was Darth Maul up there as Yofor. And
Oh, really?
yes.
I don't read the credits at all.
I was there for it.
That's great. Oh, yeah.
He crushed it.
Oh,
he
yeah.
crushed it. The animation of his mouth is so much more like Urik's is more subtle. Yurik has a sort of a more subtle. He talks. He's a little more deliberate. But Yofor's just everything is so big and his mouth opens wide and he has this sort of slack part of his mouth that sort of like hangs low and you can see his teeth all the time. He's more grotesque. I really liked the way they animated him, especially once his armor came off, because this is the first time we saw him without his helmet. He takes it off to talk to her.
I love how big he was.
He's big.
He was huge.
Yes.
Yes.
He was
massive.
Huge. And just
Agreed.
Oh, he was amazing. And I made a note that I really felt that Daphne Keane like really looked like Ruth Wilson in this scene.
Huh.
Like there's some elements here where she really had a Mrs. Coulter flavor when she's talking to Yofor, and it worked, especially considering the relationship that Yofor had with Mrs. Coulter. I really felt like it worked in that scene.
Are you talking about when she's like, if you want me to stay, I'll stay.
Yes.
But give me a chance to show you like how much I love you.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and she got right by his face the
Mm-hmm.
same way that Mrs. Coulter gets right by the magisterium guy's face at
Yep.
the end.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yep.
it's that same like almost going to kiss you, not really.
Yeah.
I mean, not that I don't mean that Lyra was trying to be seductive.
No, but it was
it was that very like intimate. I'm coming
Right.
into your space.
Right.
Being
the
vulnerable.
Conversational intimacy is.
Yes,
Yeah.
right. You know, maybe in some way showing vulnerability because you're coming in, in close.
Mm-hmm.
That's the key to the lie too, is really getting him to believe her and also desire her, not in a romantic way, but in a demon way. He wants a soul, another soul.
Yeah.
Did he have a doll? I didn't see one.
He did not have a doll.
It
was a missed opportunity.
It bums me out.
Hard for the doll.
I was looking for it. It bummed me.
Yeah. The doll gives him like this whole like air of like almost psychosis, you know,
right?
And it wasn't there, so that was a little disappointing.
Yeah, and I think that the other bears too. It was absent the chaos, some of that chaos in the way the society was kind of functioning, was absent. And I get that they didn't necessarily have a lot of time to build that in. And it wasn't like it was 100% necessary. I just think it's a nice added detail. I love that his helmet, it looks like a mask.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like he's not even trying. Like other bears, they show their face through their helmet, but he like wants to hide the fact that he's a bear altogether. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe I'm reading too much into his helmet.
No, I think that's spot on. I mean, they talk in the show about how he doesn't want to be a bear. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's hiding his whole nature.
Yeah.
From he's got the mask in front of him. He's the only one that wears a full face mask.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's hiding his nature behind like human trappings. So
yeah,
but he's not very smart.
He gets really sucked into it pretty, considering the speed at which information travels, and that he and his bears are able to supply and build a working facility for experimentation, that you would think that there would be a more, I don't know, more intelligence and less gullibility in those moments, even with his desire being as strong as it is.
Yeah. Though he didn't build the lab in this. He didn't facilitate the building of the lab. The lab was there. He just took him to the existing lab, which was a little disappointing, and we'll talk about that later.
No, that's a good point. That's a good point. In the book, they build him one, but although I don't know, maybe they built that one I don't know. Maybe they built it in the past. I don't know.
Yeah, perhaps. But back in our world, Boreal is running a game on Elaine.
He really is. This is sort of that juxtaposition of what's going on in all these different worlds. Lyra's is this big fantasy kind of epic, what's happening in her world, and then it's like this much smaller story going on with what Boreal's doing and what he's doing. It's so simple what his attempts to do and how he's trying to confuse and trick Will's mom in sort of a similar way that Lyra's doing. He's sort of, he wants one thing, right? He wants those letters, and he wants to find whatever these objects are that John has taken, and trying to convince her that he's alive. She doesn't believe him.
I like that you juxtaposed Lyra's lies with Boreal's, because they're doing the same thing on the surface, but the motives are the difference between the two actions. Because Lyra's are all about altruism. She's lying to protect Yorick. In this case, it's Boreal lying for his own disgusting purposes, and it tells the whole story about who each character is. Lyra is willing to compromise only for other people, whereas Boreal do it just for profit. But yeah, he was awful, and his gaslighting her with the snake, I thought was just terrible. And But the actress, Nina Sosanya, to me, she was the MVP of this episode. I felt so deeply for her when he left, and you could see the last bits of her strength just go away, and she screamed into that pillow. It was so well done. I just thought she was fantastic. If you take her and the woman who's playing Ma Costa, right now I think are the two most powerful performers on the show.
Yeah, they're really good, and her scene with Boreal, and Boreal is so still. He has a real stillness to him. He doesn't have a lot of business with his body. His acting is very still, and what she's doing while still, she's able to. She has a real control over her faculties of her face.
Yep.
And because she can tremble tiny pieces of her face in a way that was pretty striking. She was trembling her brow and her cheek a little bit, not just her lip, but she was able to tremble pieces of her face when she was trying to hold it together. We know that she's
barely
confused.
Contained.
Yeah, she's barely able to sort of hold it together. She holds it together for the most part this whole episode, which is remarkable.
Yeah.
But everything she has is just holding herself to, even up against someone who is cunning and smart and driven and is from another world, and learned, and she holds her own and kind of pisses him off. Really, he gets back to the car and he is pissed. Go get the letters. He wasn't able to get the letters from her. He thought, oh, I can do this. He just opens the door, lets himself in. Like the cockiness of that alone.
Yes.
She reaches over to lock the door, and he just opens the door quietly. It's like, oh, I'll go sit in your.
Where's your lounge?
Den. Yeah, where's your lounge? Ugh.
Yeah. Ugh. Gross.
Yeah.
Gross.
He continues to be gross.
It was the first time that I was like, when he was on screen.
Yeah.
Because even Obsession, I wrote down, Obsession looks good on him. Like, even when he's sitting there, like, obsessing about the letters, I was like, ooh, he looks so nice, obsessed. But then he goes in there and he does that, and it was skeevy. It was just gross. And I think one of the things that you're talking about when he gets so angry, and I love this, I think this is where she was able to keep it together. It was like Hulk saying, I'm always angry. She was like, I'm afraid of everything.
Yes.
What's you? Like one more thing.
Yeah, it's one more thing to be afraid of.
Yeah. She's like, and I think that's where she found that bit of strength, that anchor for herself is like, you're just one of all these other things, real and not real, that I'm afraid of.
She owns her fear. She knows who she is.
There's a lot of screaming in here though. When a lot of cathartic screaming.
Right, Mrs. Coulter and that crazy roar in the beginning.
That was.
What was that?
The spittle roar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was that?
I couldn't even wrap my brain around the sound that came out of her mouth. That was just. I mean, it was pure animal sound, a pure animal sound, right?
Yeah.
There was no human yelling in there. It was all like a like Yorick.
I'm sorry, this goes back to all the way back to when she's monkey slapping that guy, and then last week when she's monkey McLeaning her way through the pipes. There has got to be an in-story reason why she's so animalistic. I mean, it's so blatant. You've got a whole world of people who've got these demons who don't act like that.
Well, maybe it's just another one of her, Boreal's kind of like slithery snake. And, and then that doctor was like foxy. Maybe it's just another way of her chewing scenery.
But Lord Boreal, I mean, he doesn't slither on the floor trying to get from place to place.
I know, but don't you think it's maybe just Ruth Wilson's tape? I would watch that.
Would watch that.
I would watch that too. Yeah, I would watch that.
We have one more episode.
Who could only hope?
Isn't it Crom who turns into a snake at the end of Conan? Yeah. I would watch a scene like that. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
I just feel like maybe I don't know that there's anything deeper more than her acting choices.
She's giving a capital S strong performance. It doesn't always land perfectly, but the last couple episodes, man, she has been like at an 11.5 for 2 straight hours.
Yeah.
With no modulation. She is, up here at the very top.
And that's the thing I think I'm doing. It's like either I want her to have some kind of narrative reason for this, because if not, it's just way too much and it's turning me off. So I'm forcing myself to hope that there's a narrative reason that has not yet been revealed.
Yeah, I won't take that from you.
She could scream and yell and be pissed and be on a certain level, but she has. I'm not an actor, everyone can shit on me if they want, but it's like there's subtlety and there are levels and there are chances for her to pull back that could make her more menacing and more scary. She, even some of the stuff where she's whispering also feels like it's at 11.5. It's not okay. She's not yelling, but she's like whisper yelling, because it's so up here. And she's got this smirk on her face, like she knows she's chewing the scenery. She's a big actress. She's doing big stuff.
Which is cool, because I have loved her since Luther. So I think she's fantastic. I'm just confused by the monkey choices.
Very monkey.
I feel like she's excessively monkey.
She's very monkey. She's very monkey. Yeah, we'll see. We have one more episode. I wouldn't expect us to get an answer about the monkeyness. I think that's just a choice. I think that's an acting choice. Because
what if she does do monkey exposition next week, and then I've been waiting for this, but it's exposition. What do I do?
We get a 10-minute scene where she just talks about how she acts like a monkey. Travis is like,
notes.
It's wonderful. Pages flying.
This is incredible.
Oh boy.
So back to Svalbard.
Oh,
and
man.
We're back in the interior sets for the fight. And I'm super disappointed.
Yeah. Same. This took me no armor.
No armor.
No
I've got that in my notes. There was no armor.
Is it harder to that was a weird choice to me.
Yeah.
Because you also showed the importance of the armor to the bears.
And then they just took it off.
Is we read about it a lot in the book, but they talk about it in the show. How important it is, what it means to him, how important it is to all of them. And the fact that he fought without it on takes away that, like, he took his soul off to fight to the death. That's when you put it on. And if you're going
to do that, make a reason for it. Give me a reason for it. Yeah. I'm taking off this armor because I don't want it to be damaged by something like you or whatever, something like that. You're not worth my armor. Just give me something. That was just, I didn't like it.
The whole setting was a little bit problematic for me, or a lot problematic for me. No armor, 6-7 bears in there.
Yeah.
Daphne Keene, Lyra is basically standing in the fighting area,
middle of the fight,
the whole time, in incredible danger. Like, get out of the way, girl. The fight was really different. The movie and the book were very similar.
Yes.
And then the ultimate, the way it ends, the way it culminates is sort of off screen, and it's really just a neck bite. Right. I feel like the weight of him tricking him. In the show, he says, "Oh well, I found out he could be tricked," but it wasn't the same kind of trick. I didn't really get the trick.
He didn't trick him.
He didn't
trick him.
Lyra just came over. I mean, he was actually injured, and Lyra kind of psyched him up.
Yeah, he got that whole
jumped
he
on him.
Hopped up a little bit and jumped on him when he saw Lyra.
Well, he was, and Iofor was speaking.
Yeah.
Saying what a badass he was.
Yeah, well, he was about to swat Lyra, and then Yorick.
Right.
He got up and then and stood up for her, and then just, and then what got me was Lyra didn't watch.
She turned away.
Yeah,
that's not her.
Because it's key in the book and in the movie that Lyra watches that. Yeah. Because she is there for her friend. There's nothing that Yorick can do that's going to repulse her.
Yeah.
And she turned away. And I thought that it wasn't in keeping with the character. And, we also didn't get that visceral, jaw swat.
I wrote in my notes, no gore with a sad face.
Yeah, and it's like a couple puncture wounds, but nothing significant.
No, and I hate to, and there was no Bears, who is your king? I was waiting for it.
Yeah.
I mean, they gave it to me in the movie, y'all.
Yeah.
The movie who made this scene 2.5 minutes long. We got a much longer build up to this, but the fight was shorter and less dynamic. Yeah. It wasn't as exciting. It wasn't this big open forum where it was like we cheering bears around that were like rooting on. And the problem with Lyra being so present in the fight to me, and then her going over to him is Yofer not only is like, you lied to me, like he realizes that she lied, which never happens.
Never happens.
He dies before he knows that. But then Yorick is fighting for Lyra instead of fighting for his own honor and the importance of his own people. Lyra is in danger. He fights for her, and he ultimately kills Yofer to protect her. And in that one moment, even though maybe not the greater fight was about that, Lyra was in danger in that moment. He stood up for her.
Yep.
And it really bums me out because, if anything, Yorick and Yofer, that's a blood rivalry. They don't need any outside stimulus to make them hate each other and fight to the death.
No, Yorick wanted Yofer dead for what he did to him, not because Lyra was in danger. It wasn't necessary. Yeah. It was absolutely unnecessary.
And how did the guy in the cell describe Yofer's hate for Yorick? I loved it. I can't remember now, and I should have written it down, but he had said it fast enough where he was like saying like something about hating him and like he's filled. Do you remember what I'm talking about? I'll have to go back. But he had this great quote about how much Yofer hated Yorick and how he was like filled with his hate, but I can't. I'm bummed now.
Yeah, they tease it. She says his name, and like Yofer freaks out.
Yeah,
screams.
Yeah,
there's a real power there, and there was also a nice moment where he says, Yorick, when he's ready to fight, and his voice like rumbles and it blows out the fire that's next to where they're standing, which is really, I was actually thinking that was going to be awesome at that point, but then they just go into the throne room to fight, a little bitty space, a confined space.
Yeah. I mean, that's that, like I was saying about the sets before, and I think this is all of a point, is that they're not communicating scale well on this show at all.
I'm going to say something, and I know I like BBC. I like a lot of BBC shows. This feels like it's got like a Doctor Who
feel.
Budget level,
and
that's not the budget it needs. It needs Game of Thrones money, or maybe not even Game of Thrones money, but more money.
Absolutely,
it feels inexpensive. There are moments that are like, "Whoa, this looks really good,"
and we're going to hit a moment. We're going to hit another moment soon that I think illustrates that. We'll talk about it.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. So the fight is a little bit of a.
I wrote meh.
Yeah, it's disappointing. That the best part of the fight to me was the reveal of the blood moss afterwards.
Yes,
because I was like, blood moss. That got me the most excited. That's a little bit of a problem. I'm wincing in the video. You'll see.
Pharmaceuticals should not be the high point of a fight scene.
Yeah, and coming from Travis, who worships the Panzerbjorn.
Pharmaceuticals.
You worship pharmaceuticals. It was a letdown. This is one of like 3 of the biggest moments in the whole book.
Yep.
The most exciting and are you not entertained? Like it's big.
Yeah.
It was just like the bears that were with barely said anything. They chanted maybe once.
They've blown the 2 biggest scenes so far on this show.
What was the other one?
The Bolvanger fight scene.
Yeah, because Serafina did it by herself.
And because most of it took place in my dining room.
It was a little bitty area. There was no conflict outside of Bolvangar. There wasn't a lineup of Tartars.
Yep.
It was just 3 or 4 dudes with dogs. Serafina as Quicksilver.
In a hallway.
In a hall. Yeah, there's nobody there. And then it was over. And you know, they showed that she taught her that flour was flammable. And she didn't use that. I was like, where is my flammable flour?
You set that place on fire, Lyra.
You set it up that she knows that flour is flammable, and you did not use it. All she did was turn on the machine, pushed. Although that was kind of funny when she said she was pushing every button until something happened. Right. That was cute. But you're right. They're dropping the ball here in the home stretch with the big action sequences.
They really are.
And I think it's got to be budgetary. The actors are doing their work.
Absolutely.
You know,
absolutely.
And
I don't have a complaint about
smaller moments, are really landing. Even
and I think there's a reason that
too.
Yeah, but I think there's a reason that most of our praise is for the real world scenes. It's because we don't have any of those budgetary issues. We don't have they're not building sets. They're not building all these things. They're just throwing us into the world, letting the actors do what they do. You know, and it's in Lyra's world where the show's falling down.
Yeah, and Trollesund was really good. Like, Trollesund was a good set.
Yes.
It was very lived in, and I was like, ooh. You know,
I wonder if they spent a lot of money on Trollesund.
Maybe they blew all their budget on Trollesund.
Yeah, I mean, getting Dudley Dursley can't be cheap.
He's not cheap. He's a big star now after that Coen Brothers movie.
So, going back to, we see Roger.
Yes, Roger. Their affection for each other, maybe you're playing up a little bit. The lots of hugging.
Yeah, I wrote that
down. You're nodding, right?
Oh yeah, no, I was just like, they're overplaying it. I think a little bit.
Look, I love you. If something bad happens to you, I'll be really sad. She
didn't even hug him back for a little bit on one of the hugs. She's like, and then she finally puts her arms around him. He's a little, maybe he's like a little bit of a Klingon. Like, maybe she's like, maybe I don't like this kid so much. You know, like, get this kid away from me, bro.
But as soon as he shows up, exposition. Like, that's how he greets her.
I mean, I was in this cave and Lee and da 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 and Lee and then I crashed and blah 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 blah. Great.
It was Roger's day out.
You could just have him.
I wrote it in my notes. It was Roger's day out. We got it. When he came back, he told us everything you did.
I would watch a Home Alone style movie with Roger in the cave and 2 kind of like bumbling Cliff Gas trying to get into the cave. Would you watch? And he's like sets these little booby traps with like pieces of kitchenware that he stowed away with him.
As long as Joe Pesci is one of them, I'm all about it.
Joe Pesci as Cliff Gas. Yeah, I would watch that for sure.
Oh man, and Daniel Stern.
Big star.
So then they go to the Magisterium.
They're packing up.
They are.
How do they get that news so fast?
That's what that's
I mean, for real.
That's my note. Yofer is dead. How do you know?
There ain't no text messaging.
No.
There ain't no ravens.
No ravens, no owls.
Their alethiometer takes weeks to give a message.
And that dude still hasn't given an answer to the other 2 things that he was supposed to get earlier in the show.
He's already running behind. So how do they know about Yofer? Week.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like, how do they get the news? That's the only motivation for them to be packing up and going north. And I feel like I didn't need that information. I think it would have been okay because of this climactic battle next week. It doesn't need to be the whole damn Magisterium. It could be just that group of Tartars that are left over that we didn't see, and Coulter's people.
That's why that's how they've screwed up Bolvangar. After Bolvangar, the Egyptians are supposed to set that place on fire. Mrs. Coulter is supposed to chase the kids with the remnants of her guys. The kids are supposed to get away. In this case, Mrs. Bolvangar slinks off alone. You know, does her little Incredible Hulk walk away, and nothing. And then she's still there. It's not like last week. It looked like she was, slinking away to like escape.
She's hiding and looking around a corner.
Yeah, is she like under a desk? I mean, where was she the whole time the Egyptians were still there?
She was standing looking at the broken machine. I mean, like, it seems like she's just standing there yelling at the machine. Where did the Egyptians go? They just left and got it and took the trail.
Yeah. And they set like 2 fires. Yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's disappointing at this point. Really disappointing. Everything that's taking place in Lyra's world, I'm just disappointed in.
Yeah, I'm finding things to like in that story arc. I just think that the big swings for the fences are coming up empty, a little bit empty.
Yeah, and just to give a little bit of a fair shot to them. I mean, I think one of the things I like that the show has been doing is it's been giving you enough magisterium for them to feel like the threat that they are. Which in the book we had said, like, who are they and what do they even want? And I think they're making it pretty clear here, for the most part, and having them be a threat. I'm fascinated by the choice, the composition of frame that repeated itself throughout this episode. The opening shot, which was a cool shot, is just Mrs. Coulter. It's coming up on. It's black, and there's just the square, and Mrs. Coulter is standing in the middle, and that repeats itself with her like 3 other times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So and then it even repeats itself. I think it repeats itself maybe with one other person. Oh yeah, with Will's mom when she's going to the safe house. Like, yes, people are boxed in by their situations, or yes, they're feeling trapped or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, they were just.
And let's draw a picture of it.
Yes, and I think that when they used, like, I loved it as the opening shot. Mm-hmm. After I saw it 3 times, I was just like, and the magisterium scene was one there too, where she's standing there and there's the big open hangar door, and that's what
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, but I do like that at least the magisterium is consistently being brought into it, so we can understand the threat level.
Yeah, we're coming back to them. I agree with that. That's a good point, Joanna. I agree with that. And I don't know that they have menace, but they certainly are present, and we're more aware of what they want.
You don't think they're mwahaing?
They're
enough?
funny menacing in a way, like they are a little bit like that. But I almost would like kind of a Star Chamber scene where they're all together in like a smoky room, like making plans and being
like powerful people.
Yeah, like really scary, powerful people.
Mm-hmm.
Putting people, making choices about people's life and death.
Mm-hmm.
Approving children to be killed, not just carrying it out, which we saw the 2 scientists sort of struggling with, but not sort of struggling with, but like somebody told them to do that, and it's not just Mrs. Coulter. Someone's telling Mrs. Coulter to do it, so we can go all the way to the top on this. This is that church abuse stuff, I don't hate it. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So back in Will's world, a little bit of a change here. The music teacher has been replaced with the boxing instructor.
Yeah.
Yes.
That worked for me.
It worked for me too.
I thought that was good. We don't need to bring in another character. That guy said he would be here for him, and that scene played out very naturally. And it also felt there's a little more protection there.
Yes.
Some very old woman who's teaching. I don't know how much protection she's going to be. So like a boxing instructor, it's like, well, at least she'll be in good hand, literally in good hands.
Yeah.
That worked for me.
He seems like a genuinely good man.
Yeah. What did he say? He has extra PJs or something for her.
Yeah.
Which I thought was very cute, a cute line. But the reason why Will said he was going to go and clean up the house from someone breaking in, and an adult is just going to let him go do it.
Yeah, you go back to that.
Right. Yeah.
I'm sorry, the cops would have been waiting there when you got there. You're 14. You're not telling me that I'm not calling the cops.
Yeah, I don't know.
No.
The thing about him dropping off the music teacher, he doesn't let on anything's going on.
Right.
It's just like she's like, oh, he's like, no, I just need to take care of some stuff, and she just sort of has to do it.
Will's explanation for not wanting the police involved does make sense.
Yes.
And I can imagine his boxing coach not wanting to have him put into the system.
Yes.
Right.
That makes sense. But even still, he would go with him, or something. Let's all go. It's about to be nighttime.
Right. Yeah.
It's going to be dark in like an hour.
Yep.
So he goes back to the house, and
I'm sorry, but before we go back to the house, the scene when Will says goodbye to his mother, I thought was so good. I mean, Amir Wilson again he's such a good actor. He really is.
he is.
I'm looking forward to next season when he gets to spend time with Lyra, and be the center of the show, because whenever he's on the screen, I have to watch. Like, I feel like engaged with his entire story, and yeah, I just think he's for his age, he's a heck of a charismatic actor.
With his story, there's also very little distraction outside of them as actors being able to deliver take us on this journey. Yeah. There's not so much going on around them that you can really focus on him. You can really focus on his mother. Yep. You can focus on even Boreal. Those are really interesting people, and you want to follow them. You want to learn about them. Mary Malone, this makes me excited for her too.
Oh yeah,
like her reveal, and like we can really focus on her. There's a real meatiness to like what we will be able to see in the next season.
And I think, once they're involved in the more fantastical elements, it might be more engaging for us because we've had the time to find a connection with Will. Like Will is now our POV character going into the fantastic part of this story. So, I think that what we're seeing on that side of the story bodes well for season 2.
Really does. I think they really set it up well. I remember when they first panned into Will's world, I was like, oh, it's so early. It was like the second episode, right? Wasn't it the second episode? Was it the first episode?
No, it was the second one, because I think the name of our episode is like they went there or something like that.
Right.
Yeah, so I think it's the second episode.
So, and I remember being really worried about how they were going to pace introducing these aspects of Will and his story, where it was, how is it going to merge smoothly? And I feel really happy with where that part of the story is going to merge. I even felt like maybe, I could see a couple moves ahead and maybe see like where they might end up together at the next episode, which is the last episode of the season, right? 8. Yeah. So that is a plus for me, because I was worried about it at first. I was just not sure. But you're right, Amir Wills. He is, every time he's on, I'm just like, I want to be his friend. I want to be his buddy.
He's great. Going back to what you were touching on, Joanna, I think that this layering of Will, like getting Will in this season, has worked like gangbusters. I completely agree. I wonder if they could have done everything they've done up to this point without Boreal being in that world.
Yeah.
And not knowing that there were openings between worlds yet. Because
I think so.
He does drive some of the plot forward, but nothing that couldn't be accomplished with something else.
Right, and nothing that couldn't have been revealed later.
Yeah.
It could be perfectly fine. Yeah, it could have been perfectly fine that it was Boreal who was sending those people in. Yeah. But he didn't need to be there.
Right.
Reveal it next year.
Yeah, it could be. Yes, it could be revealed later, and I think that would have added to some of that for sure.
Yeah, have the mustache guy end up being Boreal's driver. And that's it. Then we're done. We've got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So did you want to touch on anything else before we talk a little bit more about Will and what happens next at his house?
Well, we do. There are 2 points. We jump back to Lyra's world, where Serafina comes to talk to Lee, and we get another exposition dump. And this one, actually, to me, was the most frustrating one. Not because there was so much of it, but because they were actually telling us things that happened earlier in this episode. It's just, I don't know what's going on with pacing on that side of the story. Cause since they're 2 wildly different things, maybe there's a magical difference with demons that prevent good pacing. But I just felt like there was just like way too much talking about what we just saw.
Mm-hmm. And I
seen.
Yeah, and I think there's also way too much time spent trying to convince Lee
to
that
fight.
it's like I don't know that he needed
He's
that
always
much
been on
persuasion. Board. Right. Like he might have been stating when they were having that original talk in the balloon, like, ooh, this is more than I thought. And, I wanted to retire, but it wasn't like, I want to stay out of it.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
And this is another contract.
Yeah.
He's very business-like instead of that he actually cares about her.
Right. Because is it before or after that where when he finds out he's alive, she's like, yes. And he's like tearing up.
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, what's the next, part of this arrangement going to be? I'm like, it didn't make sense to me.
Yeah, that's ham-handed too.
Yeah.
Because I think that he really does have affection for her.
Oh yeah.
For sure.
And they're showing that. And even when Lyra helped him get his kingdom back, he's like, "Ooh," almost like I knew she was special. He knows she's special.
Yeah.
And then he pulls that crap where he's like, "Well, you got any, what's next for me? I mean, am I done?" It's like, well, don't you want to be a part of this in a way? Like this is an adventure, and that's what he is. He's an adventurer.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know why they're playing this hesitancy up.
It's not the performance. It's in the text.
It's in the text. Yep.
We can get on him all we want about his Texan accent, but he's delivering the material.
And this episode, we really could get on him about that Texan accent.
He brought it out a little bit.
Oof.
He got a little twang. He got some twang out.
And then he didn't. And then he did.
And then he did. And he didn't. I did like it when he hooted and hollered real loud. Right. That was pretty good.
And I liked Hester's. I'm not sure I like that song anymore.
I don't like that song anymore.
I like that.
I sing when I'm nervous or whatever. Yeah, that was cute.
Cute.
It still works, but there's just.
Yeah.
But you're right about Serafina. And then again, she just shows up. I was like, where is everybody else? Like they're just, can't there be just some background people standing there that are dressed in costume? Yeah, I mean, like, wouldn't that be? I hate to dog this particular part of it because we've been giving them a pass. We gave them pass early on about not seeing enough demons, right? I was like, it's fine. I can give them a pass on that because it is sort of a small thing and it didn't affect the overall thing. But now that there's bigger things happening, it concerns me because I know where the whole story is going. And if we get 3 seasons, it's going to be big. And if they don't do it big, it's going to be disappointing.
Because if I see 3 or 4 angels floating around next season, I'm flipping tables.
Yeah.
Because that's ridiculous. That will be ridiculous.
Or a castle in the sky.
I'm nervous about what that castle could look like.
Yeah, and don't give me a Chitagaze that looks like freaking Bayonne, New Jersey.
Yeah.
Give me something. I want to see something big and exciting and like awe-inspiring. Or the some of the effects are pretty. The effects are pretty good. The animals are pretty good
when they choose to do them.
But it's just the bigger.
I love how you're just giving up in like disgust.
You're still on board.
I love it. No, I just love it. It's funny. It makes me laugh.
And speaking of effects, the next shot, the next scene, when they're riding Yorick.
Oof.
Oh my God.
Yeah. That was the one you didn't want to see when we first saw them ride him.
Yeah.
The close up with like the color wasn't quite right.
And the goofy smiles.
Yeah.
This is wonderful and this is beautiful and like it doesn't look like they're actually cold. There's some problems there.
Yeah.
Yeah. But a jump cut to Will that was pretty good though.
Yeah.
Smiling and then it was like boom him.
Yeah.
I thought that was another one of those like quick things where they are running in parallel.
Yes.
They're headed in the same direction.
Yep.
Whatever that direction is, they're heading in the same way.
Right.
So that worked for me. And it was also a nice cut to get away from that scene.
Yes. I feel like that's what the editor did. Just like, no, just stop it.
Just cut it. I mean, I can't look at this anymore. And look at Roger on there just clutching onto her with so much love.
Oh my goodness.
The love that he feels for her.
Air Supply is playing.
He's not all out of love. He's all full of love. Sheesh.
Here I am. But yeah, so back to Will's world.
Okay, so let me
Firstly,
talk
I'm in
about
love with Will's house.
Beautiful house.
Oh my
They got means. They have means.
Yes.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, that monthly check has got to be.
That is not a tiny check.
No, it's not.
No, that's like 15 bills. That's good.
That house is lovely.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And well kept.
Very much so. They've got to have a guy.
Having trouble, keeps a very tidy house.
Yeah. And we did see Murder Cat. We got our first. We got Murder Cat.
Let's talk about murder real quick. So this is the thing. Let me go back to what I was thinking when Boreal went into her house and was talking to her. I was like, "Is Will going to kill Boreal?"
Thought the same thing.
I was like, because that would be such a huge change, and it would be maybe the only reason you would bring him into this season this early, is to like be done with him and change the way they do next season. So when he didn't, I was like, oh God, I was really waiting for it to happen. That he was going to be the one that goes back into the house, and he was going to be. We saw the stupid cat, and also it was like, he's sitting there like, oh, we know he's going to play a part in this episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, murder cat.
Yes.
She's back.
Now, did Will wrap up his fists in the book? I know, like in the show, he did it because he's a boxer, and it makes sense.
He just shoves it,
yeah.
and he falls down the stairs.
Okay.
He doesn't go over the railing. He falls down the stairs.
Because I like that he was ready, man. He was like ready to.
Like a necktie or something. It was just like boom. He popped him, and the guy went flying.
Yeah, and tripped over Murder Cat, and that was it.
Yep, that was it.
His cohort did not come fast enough.
No,
it's a minor quibble, but he just crashed. The house is not that big.
Right.
He would hear it and come running, right? Mm. That was a little bit like, there was a long period of time before anything happened.
Yeah, because he didn't even see Will. I mean, he just like Will's gone already.
The moment in the book, it's chilling because the guy looks at him and is like horrified. Somebody just died.
Yeah.
This was supposed to be just a snatch and grab. And now somebody's dead. I didn't think a kid was going to kill my partner, It
wasn't a kid. It was Murder Cat.
It was Murder Cat. That's true.
I want somebody to make me like a little video clip. You remember Nyan Cat?
Of course.
Yes.
But I want it to be Murder Cat. And I want to play it over and over and over and over and over again across my screen. That's what I want.
I like it. With an air supply, like a air supply.
Great. Rainbows coming out of its butt. That'd be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. My favorite Murder Cat. Yes. I'd want a shirt.
A Murder Cat shirt.
Instead of being like a Pop-Tart, it could be like the letter case.
She's tough too. She got a little funky ear. Like
she does. Yeah.
She's been around.
She's been through some stuff.
She knows what's up.
She does.
She lives on the streets.
He goes and it feels like maybe he wants to see his mom again.
Yeah.
Who's looking out the window.
Mm-hmm.
But he decides better of it. We know where he's going right now, which is crazy.
Right.
That I know exactly what the next step in this kid's life is going to be, which I bet we don't see hardly anything. Maybe we do see a little bit next week. But we might not. Like, do we see him? You know what I mean?
I suspect it'll happen early in the episode because in my head that the next week's episode ends with something happening and Lyra and him meeting. That's how it happens in my head.
Do you think they'll meet?
It's going to happen earlier. You think that the big thing is going to happen earlier in the episode?
I think you have to bring the A and B plots together before the end of the season, or else it's weird.
Yeah, I wrote in my notes the shiz is going down in episode 8.
For shizzle.
Because it's like it's gonna but yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I didn't foresee it maybe as early.
Yeah.
But for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, I think he's at least gonna do the first thing in close to the beginning of the episode, and then he'll do some wandering, and then bing.
Yeah, I could see that happening. I would be okay with that. I'd be okay with that. So we never-ending story our way up to Azriel's lab. We get to Azriel's lab, and he goes, and he
I'm a luck polar bear.
Oh my god!
And there's no
She
little bridge.
whispers in his ear, and he does whatever. Yeah, no bridge, no slippery bridge. They just go there, and he lays down.
No danger.
It's not that big a deal. It's kind of another one of a, it just happens.
Here's the other thing. He's gonna go, and he's gonna tell the bears to stand down. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Bears don't know that he's the king now.
Exactly.
All they know
the
is
Magisterium found out already. How do they not know? They all have like Wi-Fi. They all got
the alert on their phones.
Mm-hmm.
And that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. But going back to 5 seconds ago, I totally agree. It's like they wouldn't. Yeah,
those bears
are just going to say, "Oh, by the way, I killed you." Yeah, it's like, they're going to be pissed.
Yeah, because they know that he's Uric, and that he's persona non grata, bear non grata.
Mm-hmm.
So,
a little bit of a plot hole there.
Yeah.
So our boy Thorold opens up the door, lets in the kiddos, and Roger very conveniently walks into the next room, but Lyra doesn't. And Azrael has his big. We haven't seen him since episode 1.
I know.
We're all special. And this is the next scene we get with him. And how do you think he delivered this moment?
I liked it.
Winner.
Good. Winner. I agree. Winner, chicken dinner.
Yes.
McAvoy showed back up and McAvoyed the heck out of it. Like, that was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's small and then big and small and big. He's doing something.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's not all big.
What I liked was that if you're Lyra, you could feel rejected hearing what he said.
Mm-hmm.
If you're an adult watching that scene, you know that there are a number of different layers, and he does not want her there for her own safety. Mm-hmm. You could see that in his performance.
Yeah.
And I love the different the multiple layers in that performance. It was really, really nicely done.
Mm-hmm.
And this is why you need somebody like McAvoy, for real. Like, why you need somebody like him to be able to deliver that in a way that was, like, my heart stopped. He hit the little clench of the railing. His knees buckle a little bit. He drops his papers, like all these things that, again, just like in the book, she doesn't notice.
Yeah.
But when we are reading it, we see those things when he's clutching the mantle, and we understand. In the book, when I read it so much angrier.
Mm-hmm.
But I really love the desperation that was in his voice. He was still angry, but it wasn't at her.
Yep.
He's not angry at the universe.
Yeah. But of course, again, she wouldn't know that. So she thinks, oh my God. But in the book, it felt like he was angry, like literally angry at her. And this, I didn't get that feeling. And I liked that. I liked that.
But you know what's jacked up about that? Mm-hmm. He's angry that she's there, and he's desperate that she's there. But he's angry and desperate because he knows he's still going to do what he wanted to do.
He tells her to leave. I mean, he's like, you should leave.
Exactly. Because if he wouldn't have to be angry or desperate. He could just be a little frustrated and go, what the heck is this? Mm-hmm. If she showed up. But he knows that he still would do it. And that's what I love about that whole performance. And that's what I love about that whole section of the book. He is that horrible.
I'm telling you. Abraham.
Yeah.
Right there.
But I did love when he looked over and saw Roger. And
it's like
Roger looked like a chicken on a deserted island with like 20 cartoons.
I want someone to look at me the way James McAvoy looked at Roger.
Yes.
I was like, oh my God.
He was licking his chops.
That look, he was hungry.
They just put fresh fries in the fryer. I'm just gonna wait here and order in 5 minutes.
My God.
He was real excited.
He's like, I'm traveling next week.
And not just a heel turn. There's a moment where he's like, oh, and he kind of like turns into a gentleman.
I'm so glad they said so.
It was a good save. It was a good save. I will say that.
And who are you? And Oh, are you now? Like, how lovely. You work in the kitchen.
You're here. Yeah, I'm
so glad that you're here.
He's slowly putting away his copy of To Serve Man.
And Roger, I mean, Roger's an idiot. So, he's just sitting there.
I don't know. Roger was looking at him like what are you looking at?
Anybody want a hug? He's like, oh, you Thorold.
I don't know what happened, sir. He just started hugging me.
I'm sorry. Oh, Lord.
Oh, so that was it.
Good scene.
Yes.
Good save. Good ending to the episode. The teaser for next week. I have concerns, but I'm ready. I'm ready and willing.
Here's what I'm hoping we don't get: monkey and tiger action.
Oh no!
God,
Why
you
did
remind.
you
So
even
scared.
I forgot about it.
So did I, Alaric.
You're gonna have to deal with it if I have to deal with it.
God.
I can't. I just no.
I don't want to see that.
Oh my God! And then what? Then what happens when it's monkey snake?
Ugh.
They're gonna show monkey snow leopard. They're showing monkey snake.
Guaranteed.
You know.
100%.
You know it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I meant to mention the close up on the monkey. Really close shot of the monkey's face as he turns.
Was that the
from his
shot?
perspective, looking
that
up
was a
at
great
her?
shot.
I like that quite a bit.
Me too.
Mm.
And she didn't smack him at all this episode.
No.
She's real concentrating on like amassing this army and dealing with this assault on what again?
Yeah, I don't.
Is she going? Who does she think she's going to fight? You know, is there anybody to fight? There's no Egyptians. They're going some other direction.
Osriel.
He and Thorold, two people.
No, she knows Osriel manages to do some stuff.
She can smell his next move.
She smelled it like a monkey.
Like,
she can, and he bought that. This guy bought that. He's like, okay.
Well, she was really close to him.
She was.
So clearly,
right
he
here.
didn't look tempted. He didn't
No,
look tempted.
no, I don't
until
think
he touched her face. What was that all about?
It was she had the wound on her chin.
Oh, okay.
He raised her chin just to see that she had a nick on her chin.
You know, sometimes I wonder if he's not in this show just because there are like British laws that say that kid's parent has to be there for most of the filming.
You think he's one of the parents?
Oh, he's Daphne Keen's dad.
Oh, is that Daphne Keen's dad?
Yeah.
I did not know that. Wow, you just blew my mind.
Yeah.
But he hasn't been in any scenes with her, and they haven't been on any of the same sets.
But they're always on a set, so they're probably on the same lot.
Maybe.
You know?
All right. Well, I could buy that.
That's the only reason I can. That's the only explanation I have for him being in the show, because he's not that good.
He has a good like half eyebrow. I can't do it like one eyebrow raised.
Yeah, it's
kind of
one
like
of these.
Very arched.
Yeah.
Am I doing it? I don't know if I'm doing it. I can't do it.
It's kind of hard to mix your head.
I can't do it.
It's a thing in my family. I'm the only one who can pull it off.
Yes, look
Pretty
at
good.
that.
Well, that's really high.
Oh yeah, you got it up there too.
No, I don't.
Well done, Mr. Spock.
No, it goes up there.
Yeah.
That's good. No, there it is. There it is.
Did it?
And you have a nice furrowed brow that kind of comes in on it. It's nice.
That's my thinking face.
Good work.
Well done.
I think we hit every note. I did put Daphne equals Lyra once because I've been reluctant to get completely on board, but I thought that she was really strong here, and I thought her scenes with the bears were really good considering she's acting against a tennis ball puppet.
Yeah.
For most of this episode, so I thought she was really strong, and she's coming into her own.
Really, a couple of weeks. Yeah, reading some of the groups on Facebook. Not our group. Our group is nice, but some of the other groups have been really mean to her. A lot of them have said that she's not a good Lyra, and they're heavily in a Dakota Blue Richards camp. I'm not sure that there should be camps.
Wow.
But yeah, it's
See, and I'll stick by what I said, which is I think as things get more and more, not desperate but urgent and intense, more and more of the Lyra that we know will come out, and I'm actually really excited to see her play off of Will, because
yes,
I think that's where we're going to see like full on Lyra.
Mm-hmm.
You know, where there's that banter and there's that, you know, there's a connection, but it's not like immediate, and he doesn't just hug you at every second like Roger, you know, around the waist. Like
it'll be subtlety.
And I think that that's going to be part of what brings out the Lyra that at least the Lyra that I want to see from Daphne Keene. And I feel like she releases it a little bit at a time. And I'm kind of glad. Yeah. I don't know. I like it.
I'm a big fan.
I've liked her overall. Yeah. And I think that this week should also, I mean, any of the haters, I feel like that after this week, they should be like, this is okay. Yeah. I see why she was cast. I mean, like I've liked her overall, but I thought she really nailed a lot of this stuff this week. Yeah. And I hope that other people see it too.
Yeah.
Do we want to move on to our second subject real quick? Have a quick
let's put a nice little break in here for folks who, just want to leave the show now.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening to our discussion of episode 7 of His Dark Materials. I was going to say The Golden Compass.
I caught that.
Thank you. But now we're going to talk about Watchmen. This season finale. So
5,
if you don't want to listen to it,
3, 2, 1. Okay. Watchmen season finale. I didn't get to talk with you last week about last week's.
Yeah.
Because I loved last week's episode.
Last week's was so good.
Loved it so much.
Yes.
And honestly, the MVP of the last 2 episodes, while Regina King's fabulous, Jeremy Irons.
Oh my God, he's amazing.
Amazing.
Oh my God.
Is he a sir?
If he's not, he should be. This.
I know it.
I know he's a nutcase, but I know he's a little bit of a nutcase. So I listened to an interview with Damon Lindelof on Black Man Beyond, and he said that they had to write all of his scenes in the castle, the estate, all up front. And they shot them all at the beginning. So they had to commit to the entire plot because they had this set that they had to shoot on and have, look, this is what happens at the end. We have to commit to it now because we have to shoot all of his scenes in this stuff right now. So all that stuff they just shot in a row. And he came in and did all this kooky stuff, which wasn't really written that way. And he came in with kind of a little bit of a humorous edge to it, and they fell in love with it.
That's awesome. Because I mean, I love it because it makes so much sense. I mean, he's been trapped on that world for how long? And then
10
before
years.
then before he was trapped on the world, he was stuck. Well, not stuck, but he was in like self-imposed exile in Antarctica.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, dropping vats of squid on people.
Thawed squid.
Well, yes, but he went crazy.
He went nuts. Yeah, he was already borderline. He's narcissistic. What was the quote that about him being is like takes one to know one? That was hilarious. Both awesome. Rosie and I were cracking up on that. It was just deliciously delivered.
That was fantastic.
If sometimes you watch a show and it ends and you're very happy and it ends well, and when it ends well you give it a thumbs up and you move on. And then there's the shows that confuse and confound, but in a good way, where you're like not sure what they're doing. And there's other ones that end on a note where it's mysterious and just as wonderful, and you don't know what is coming next, and maybe you don't need to know what's coming next. And I thought the foot on the top of the pool was just perfect, just a perfect moment.
That was the only thing I didn't like about this entire series.
Really?
Are you serious?
Oh man, I thought that was just perfect.
And the reason I didn't like it is because those types of things, I thought it was cliche.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many times that we get from The Sopranos with the black screen to all those things. I've gotten to the point now where I hate the leaving me hanging at the end, because it's not satisfying. It's not satisfying. Everything else on that show, to me, even the questions that weren't answered, I was satisfied with. This one, don't wait till the end and ask a question and then not answer it. But I don't want to go too much into that, because I love the entire series, and 1-2 second shot does not ruin the whole thing for me. Mm-hmm. So I don't want it to seem like I didn't like it.
But it's the end. I mean, it can ruin it for you.
It could, but it didn't. It could, but it didn't. I did love the entire thing, except for that.
Yeah, it was really good. I like what happened to the senator inside the little fly, the fly cage. Like, oh, is he in there? And he opens
like
up. It's
a
just
water balloon.
It's just a pool. It's hysterical. I really like, and I like that Dr. Manhattan was able to touch the gore and like beam them off, which I thought was really great. I actually thought when it came through there that he was like, "Oh, I'm not in a cage. There's actually I can get out of here," because there was a place for him to get under. But he's very accepting of his fate. Him getting shot with the thing, when he came out and like wiped out all the 7th Cavalry people.
One of the best scenes, few seconds of the TV show.
Just like zapping everybody.
Black Superman blowing up racist heads made me a very happy man.
So great. Yeah. But then he sort of lets himself. He didn't have to. I'm sure he was aware that there was another guy back there. He's omnipotent.
He did.
He's just letting it happen.
That's what happens. So that's what happens.
Yeah. See, that's what I said last week. I was like, there was one guy in there, or I said, are you sure he killed everybody? Because he was letting that happen.
Just blow up the truck.
I said it was automated last week.
But
But
then Regina King is like breaking fingers like Mrs. Coulter.
Yep.
She was.
Oh,
look at you tying both together. Look at you.
I'm a teacher.
Yeah.
Cross-textual connections.
I loved the line reading with why am I still here? And he said I don't want to be alone when I die.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
He sounded so human there.
Oof.
And when she said, where are you now? And he said simultaneously, like in every moment
we spent together.
Oh my gosh. It was
beautiful.
That was so.
It was beautiful. And then Lou Gossett Jr.'s line reading of, for what he could do, he should have done more.
Yes. Yep.
And that was really close to the end of the show.
Yeah.
And that might have been the last line of the show, perhaps, right? Because I don't think she says anything. You just hear a little bit of you hear some flashbacky words, but that was the real last true or new line of the show. Yep. So he could have done more.
Yep.
Which is interesting.
I mean, it's so true though, because I mean, he look what he did on Europa, from nothing.
Oh my God!
Imagine what he could have done on Earth.
He's growing life.
Yeah, I mean that's what that when I sat and I thought about it was that Ozymandias gave humanity another chance. Dr. Manhattan was there and could have helped humanity take advantage of that chance, but he didn't. Like, what a waste! That really was a waste of all that power. To go and build a little prison for Ozymandias.
Yeah, it's very, very odd. Although, Ozymandias's, use of the word daughter comes into play here in a kind of a brilliant way that he spelled. The amount of effort he put, she was kind of moved by the amount of effort it took to spell out daughter. What did you use to spell it?
Were those corpses?
Oh, Dad, you shouldn't have.
You're the best.
It's just crazy. I just want to tell you that he might say something. He's like, "I'm your mother." She's like, "Oh, okay."
Yep, told you.
All of that was really interesting and unique. It was terrifically exciting. And then the Oklahoma soundtrack playing at the end, which oh man, what a beautiful morning, right? Wasn't that what was playing?
Yeah.
So great.
It really was.
I don't know, so Travis, if it had ended with her and her family just walking away and she's saying, "Hey, you can stay with me," and that was it, you've been like, "Okay, on board."
Stop it there. I mean, it would have been as useful to me had they, as what they did with the foot, but they wouldn't have done that, because the egg thing was in play. We knew that was something that was possible. They didn't have to show it to me at all. I didn't like them raising the question and then immediately not answering. That was what was frustrating. I would have liked it had they just ended, like you said, with the family coming out of the theater, because that's where the show ended. I mean, that's where the show started. I thought it would have been a really nice bookend to end the series there.
I hear that. I know that I love the movie The Witch. Travis loves the movie The Witch. It's a phenomenal movie. But we both agree that it should have ended like
just before she flies.
She shouldn't even go. No, it should end as soon as she walks.
Don't go into the woods.
As soon as she walks into the woods, it should cut.
So don't show any more witches.
No.
Yeah,
and I think it would have.
Yeah.
Yes, and I think it would have been more powerful. And I think that's kind of what you're saying here a little bit. Maybe is that like, they're taking you all the way, and then like withholding.
Yeah.
And it felt like the end of season 6 of like The Walking Dead, and you're like, dude. No, you know what I mean?
I don't know what that was. I haven't watched the season 6 of The Walking Dead.
Oh, right.
Yeah. I think I stopped watching like the fourth season.
With Lucille and the.
Who's Lucille?
Oh yeah, that was the last.
Gosh.
Oh, the bat. I did.
Yeah,
I didn't watch.
That was the last thing. That was the last thing I watched of the show.
Right.
That's when I stopped watching.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I thought it was a season 6 ending, and I was like, son of a cuss. And then it was that very first episode of season 7. I was like, I'm done.
Yeah.
Like I was done with it. But I'm saying is like that's what this was. I think maybe that's why it makes you angry.
But in that case, I knew that there was going to be a season 7. So I don't know. I'm okay with a cliffhanger.
Okay.
I'm not okay with ending, because Lindelof has said that he's not even certain there's going to be another season because he doesn't know what other stories to tell.
He doesn't have an idea. Yeah, he doesn't have an idea.
Right. So this is, for all intents and purposes, the end of the show. And they raised a question in the last minute of the series and then didn't answer it.
But we didn't know Dr. Manhattan even existed or what he was even doing until 3 episodes ago. Like They just introduced him. So it adds that mystery. I feel like the mystery of, so they took his power out of his body, basically. They killed him. They took that power and put it in a device that got destroyed. Mm-hmm. So his power still exists.
Right.
It's somewhere. So it's more than likely he did not put it inside of an egg, or maybe he did. I don't know.
Well, see,
it works for me.
And that's the thing. Maybe if they had just shown me the egg, because they'd already referred to the egg a couple of episodes ago. Mm-hmm. So there's my gun on the mantle. Mm-hmm. Show it to me again. Stop the episode.
Mm-hmm.
Like where she finds it, hole in the thing, and just holds it up.
Yeah.
And then cut.
Yeah. I would have been fine with that, but I just also I hate feet.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah,
don't watch Tarantino movies then.
I know.
Love feet either.
He loves feet, dirty feet, especially.
I hope when he does his Star Trek, we don't see like Mr. Spock's feet or something.
Yeah. God, it was pretty remarkable considering 10 weeks ago we had no idea what we were going to see.
Yeah.
And it was just a complete mystery as to like how was it going to be in 1986? We knew nothing really. Mm-hmm. And that this is where it was and this is where it went, and that he Trojan horsed so many kind of important things into it.
Yeah.
That people are talking about now in a good way.
Mm-hmm.
Which is pretty cool. He put together a really great writer's room full of interesting writers. And Newland does kind of stand back and let his writers do the work.
Yep.
He's very complimentary of his writers' room in particular. They did really strong work.
Really did.
Great cast.
Oh, the cast was fantastic.
Amazing.
From the bit parts to the bit parts to the big parts.
You almost forget that Looking Glass episode that was so amazing. It's like almost forgotten because there was so much after that. Mm-hmm. But that episode was amazing.
That episode was amazing.
And then he comes back. It's like, oh my God, I almost forgot about Looking Glass, but he's a great character. But we sort of left him for 4 episodes,
I want to see an episode about Red Scare and Pirate Jenny. Mm-hmm. There are so many I'd like to see a prequel about that police force before all of this went down. Mm-hmm. When Judd was still running it. Mm-hmm. Like it was such a real universe. It felt so alive.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and I think that he could. Well, I'm going to kind of stretch here, but I think. Did you watch Fargo? The not the movie, but the series.
Mm-mm.
One of the things that they did really well there was they had a storyline, right? And then so the original storyline they told it had Martin Freeman in it, and it was set in a certain time. But then the second season, it was set in a different time. It had another character, and it kind of did what you're saying. Like it was showing all these other things. The story was totally separate, And the connection was simply that this was an older character in the first season. It was him when he was younger and kind of going through things that happened. But I feel like if they were to do that, they could do some of the things that you're like that you're wanting. Like,
I'd love that.
Let's go back here and like look like, you know, they could, so it's still connected and it's cohesive as a series.
Mm-hmm.
Because Fargo is, when you watch all 3 seasons. Actually, I didn't see season 3. I only saw season 1 and 2. But they're, you know, they make sense. Mm-hmm. So I mean, that could be maybe a way they could continue. Maybe I should call him and say, hey, I have an idea for how you can do your next.
Just tweet it to him.
I'm not on Twitter. I'm not on Twitter.
Neither is he. You're good to go.
Oh, okay.
Good. Yay.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough.
I'll send him an owl.
Yeah. So over Aura Bear text.
A bear. Yes.
It was pretty amazing.
I loved it. I loved it.
So good. So good. I mean, top to bottom, man. And lots of nudity.
I was just gonna say something. You said top to bottom, and I was like, yeah, top to bottom, Doctor.
And front.
Manhattan.
And front.
Manhattan.
Holy crow.
Oh, man.
That is Superman. That is for sure.
Holy moly.
Goodness gracious.
Wow.
Like,
and on that note.
Can you believe, like, in 2 weeks we're going to be back to books?
Oh my God.
Are we going to do it like right after the new year?
Yeah.
You want to wait? Yeah, because we'll do this episode next week and then
take the holiday off. And...
Yeah, maybe take the holiday off, come back. Yeah.
Or maybe
I need to find my book. I haven't started it yet.
I just downloaded my book. I'm ready to go. It's time.
I might do audiobook. If I can't find my book, I will do audiobook. I will join you on the audiobook crusade.
I'm living in the dark ages, and I just have my paper book up on my shelf.
I have it. I just don't know where it is, and it's probably buried somewhere forever. I loaned it to somebody, and maybe I never got it back.
They probably have it. Monsters.
They stole it from me. Ugh. Yeah, it's amazing that we're gonna be back into the book. Amazing, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be nice.
I'm pretty jazzed. We need to talk about what we're gonna do after the book is done.
I have some ideas.
Podcast, yeah.
I have some ideas, yes.
Okay.
Well, after this book is done, then we go into the next 3 books. So we're good to go as far as that goes.
You're right. That's a good point.
Got books for days.
Mm-hmm. And I haven't read them either. These will be new to me.
Yeah, they'll be new for me too.
They'll be new for all of us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Though I also have some ideas about some things we can do on the side, which would be fun too. But we can do that off air.
Well, guys, thanks for listening. And we got the dream team is back together. The materialists are united once again. Yay! I hope everybody enjoyed this episode, and please listen, like, subscribe, comment, send us feedback at theamberspycast.com. Of course, we'd love to hear from you, and listen next week. We'll be back for the finale of this season, the big one.
Yep.
Big one. Looking forward to it.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye-bye.